11th-ranked Cougars working to potentially clinch a spot in the Big 12 championship game this weekend. A few scenarios would allow for that to happen. In order to do that, obviously, BYU needs to handle their own business and take care of Cincinnati in the season's most important game, not just because it's next, Dave, but because it feels like everything rides on what happens in Cincy this Saturday. So let's break it down from a concern standpoint and step back and look at what exactly BYU is going to face. So, Dave, what are your biggest concerns for the Cougars as they hit up Cincinnati?
I think you got to go right to the line of scrimmage on both sides, the offensive line, the defensive line. But that's the trench. That's where battles are won, and that's the area I'll be watching on Saturday. When it comes to running the football, they're both pretty similar, right? Except L.J. Martin leads the Big 12 with 91 yards per game. When they come to protecting the quarterback, okay, they've both had highs and lows, but BYU has been a little more solid. But as you look at the numbers in comparison with the battle of the running attacks, Cincinnati loves the big play. They've had some. BYU is a little more methodical as how they get down the field. But in stopping the run, BYU's a little better. 41 in run defense. Cincinnati's 87th. Waylon Lapuaho's out. That's a big setback for that offensive line, but they've shown depth this year. So as we jump back and forth from the offensive line, defensive line, we stay there on the line of scrimmage, and that's where BYU dominated TCU. It's where they dominated Iowa State once they got out of that first quarter. It's where they struggled against Texas Tech. So the line of scrimmage, I believe, is where this battle will be won. What do you think?
Well, certainly the line of scrimmage will play a huge role in BYU's ability to handle my number one concern, which is stopping a true dual threat quarterback. Brendan Sorsby and Cincinnati, mind you, have faced 3 of the top 6 pass efficiency defenses in the country this season, have not fared well. But he's been very good against everybody else. So let's kind of compare and contrast those two scenarios and remind everyone that BYU is ranked number 13 in the country in pass efficiency defense, one of the better teams in all the land. So here's Sorsby against Arizona, Nebraska, and Utah. 15 of 28 against the Wildcats. 13 of 25 against Nebraska for only 69 yards. Did throw for 221 against Utah, but 11 of 33. His efficiency numbers way down there. So you combine those, Dave, that's 444 total yards passing in 3 games against the 3 best pass defenses he's faced. 2 TDs, 4 interceptions, 45.3% completion percentage. In the other games, he's been can't miss, 67%. 1,774 yards, 20 touchdowns, no interceptions.
There's got to be something said about sitting in the pocket and throwing and running for your life, which Arizona had him on the run, Utah had him on the run, Nebraska had him on the run, and BYU's defense appears capable of having him on the run, and then his game changes.
So can BYU put together a defensive game plan that is more like what Nebraska, Utah, and Arizona did, compared to what Sorsby has done to exploit the other offenses he has seen? And he does have great escapability. BYU at times this season has given up some big plays in the run game. Going back to Caden Salter at Colorado, he got loose very early in the game. BYU made adjustments, end up winning that game. But I just think that BYU at this point of the season, Dave, is very disciplined in their gap assignments, in their contain on the outside. You can't let him scramble around forever back there. That, to me, is number one concern. Can you contain the dual threat quarterback? Can you make him one-dimensional where he feels like he has to rely on his arm a little bit more? Because if Sorsby starts to feel like he has to win the game with his arm, I am inclined to believe that is a massive advantage for BYU.
Yeah, and look at the prep BYU's gone through the last 2 weeks. Had Baron Morton, Texas Tech, and then Josh Hoover last week. Josh Hoover's a good quarterback, second best in the Big 12.
And BYU was so good at taking away his first read. It threw Josh Hoover off his game in a major way. Can they disrupt Brendan Sorsby in a similar fashion?
I like what they did against Hoover, and I think so, to answer your question there, because Josh threw 50 times the week before against Iowa State. And he came here and threw 23 times because BYU got him off the field and kept him off the field. And then when they had the ball, they stayed on the field with long drives and things that Aaron Roderick was able to do. But this Hoover is outstanding. We know that. We've seen him. He lit up BYU as a freshman a couple of years ago, but he did not light up BYU on Saturday night. I think that's a great prep for Sorsby because Hoover's mobile. He's got a great arm. He sees downfield. He's got excellent stats. He's got big targets to throw to. None of that mattered because BYU got in his face. They dominated the line of scrimmage, and they lured him into a couple of mistakes. And mistakes mean everything in big games.
No question. And we understand the road dynamic a little bit. We'll talk about that in a moment. Cincinnati is a big play, quick strike offense, Dave. It feels like there will inevitably be a few of those plays just because Cincinnati goes to that well so much. They like to take deep shots a bunch. You would think that just the percentages will play out that there will be a few. Can BYU limit those and then create the turnovers that you're talking about and just keep Cincinnati collectively on their heels? They like to move quick, but an offense likes to move quickly. If they go 3 and out, that's big problems for a team like Cincinnati.
We've seen it on our own end over the years. 3 and outs are deadly. My second concern tags with what you're talking about in turnovers and creating mistakes. Get Cincinnati to make some mistakes. BYU's 20-3 in their last 23 games. Of those 3 losses, they lost a turnover margin to Kansas, they lost a turnover margin to Arizona State, and they lost a turnover margin to Texas State.
You don't say. How about that?
Take that stat away, and maybe we're 23-0, and maybe just maybe we're in the top 10 in the committee's eyes, but instead we're at 11. But 36 interceptions in the last 2 seasons. That's the most in the NCAA. Kalani's 48-7, his teams with a positive turnover margin. Go into Cincinnati, get pressure on the quarterback, and we've seen pressure creating mistakes and turnovers. And this one here, Satawala made a phenomenal catch, but Hoover was on the run, under pressure, out of the pocket. Here's one. Fafita, under pressure, chucks it up. Guys just chuck stuff up sometimes under pressure, and then you just got to be in the right spot at the right time to jump on mistakes. And Trey Alexander getting this one here. This has just got to keep happening, and this is a BYU defense that's trending that way. And so can they win the turnover margin? It seems like they could.
As we pointed out, Brendan Sorsby has thrown 4 interceptions this season. All 4 of those interceptions have come against the 3 toughest pass efficiency defenses that he has matched up against. BYU would be the 4th toughest pass efficiency defense. Can the Cougars create that type of turnover in a game like this? As we've said multiple times now, it's so very important.
Hey, and the Bearcats don't intercept. They've got 2 all year. That's good news for Bear Bachmeier, who doesn't throw many picks. So I like that number, but then on the other side, BYU 14 on the season. They just go get it. I talked to Evan Johnson, who will be on our pregame show in our feature on Saturday. He said, we just go get the ball. That's how the defense feels.
Attacking
and that's how you want a defense to
mentality, yes. Well, BYU will have to deal with, from a personnel standpoint, some added bonuses for Cincinnati because the Bearcats get a couple of players back, led by their running back, Evan Pryor, who has run for 478 yards and 3 touchdowns, did not play against Utah, did not play against Arizona. Obviously, that doesn't help Cincinnati and their run attack with Sorsby and company. Tobby Walker is really good, too. 652 yards. He's averaging 6 yards a carry, 4 touchdowns. Pryor averages 7.2 yards per carry. So these guys are more than capable of those big, explosive plays, Dave. And, I mean, that's not it for Cincinnati. They also get a critical receiver back in Caleb Goody, who missed the Arizona game, 20 catches, 380 yards. He's averaging 19 yards a catch. So there are some weapons that are now available for Cincinnati against BYU that haven't been there in the past couple of games. How do the Cougars respond to some more talent back on the field? It's not a huge concern, but it is still somewhat of a concern that now BYU's got more to handle and more to deal with. If I could make a comparison, it feels like Evan Pryor, he's not quite LJ Martin status, but he's somewhere in between, from a BYU perspective, LJ Martin and Sione Moa in terms of this team's importance. He's very, very capable and good. And once again, it just takes a little seam for either Walker or Pryor to explode and make something big time happen.
Here's the thing, it's the Big 12. Everybody's got guys. Every team's got guys. Central Florida, when they come here and play on the frozen tundra in a couple weeks, they have guys. They're all capable of winning games, as we see each week on the scoreboard. No one's just efficient. And so, yeah, here comes Cincinnati. They get some guys back. BYU's healthier and getting healthier. LJ has shown he's gotten healthier each week. And now a much more healthy LJ than even last week when he had a good game. Bodes well for BYU, and Cincinnati's got to freak about that a little bit. But, hey, this is championship time, right? You put the best chips on the table and see what happens. BYU just has to stop whoever they throw out there. And then Cincinnati's got the same thing. An area of concern for BYU is scoring in the red zone on the road, right? Field goals rarely win on the road. Sometimes you can kick field goals at home, like Texas Tech kicked 5. That was a big deal in their win against BYU. But on the road, you got to score touchdowns. And when BYU gets inside their opponent's 20-yard line, the red zone, blue zone, which we like to call it, they score touchdowns. They're ranked 71st in the country in their touchdown percentage. Cincinnati's quite better at 16th in the country. But BYU's defense is better than Cincinnati's in preventing touchdowns. Cougar opponents have driven inside the 20 37 times this year, and they've only scored 14 touchdowns.
Wild.
BYU's allowed 3 touchdowns total in the last 10 quarters. Second half at Iowa State, Texas Tech, and TCU.
And those aren't slouch opponents
Not at
either.
all. I don't think the committee reads. I don't know if they know that fact, but that's why we're saying it, because we know they all watch this show, or they should. But BYU's defense has been locked down the last 2.5 games, and you know, and it's hard to get in the end zone against them. BYU's key on Saturday, and my concern is get into the end zone when you're inside the 20. Finish drives like you did against the Horned Frogs.
Can BYU win that critical battle, as Dave pointed out? Okay, my final concern. We've each listed a couple. Dave just gave his third. Here's my number 3 concern. It is always difficult to win on the road. But what is Cincinnati's home field advantage right now? They feel like they are down. The wind is a little bit out of the sails. This is a rallying cry, circle the wagons type game for Cincinnati if they have any hope of trying to sneak into Arlington and find a backdoor to get into the Big 12 championship game. They have to beat BYU. Tall task, no doubt. BYU has to figure out a way to take the momentum they built against TCU and move that onto the road. BYU has encountered a lot of drama on the road this season. It has been, more often than not, the cardiac Cougs, Dave. You think about what BYU had to do at Colorado, trailed in the fourth quarter, rally, win that game by 3. Trailed by 10 in the fourth quarter against a good Arizona team, rally, get it to overtime, eventually win in double overtime. They were down 17-7 at Iowa State, with Iowa State driving to potentially go up 24-7 in the first half. BYU rallies again, win that game by 14. And then, of course, the letdown eventually at then number 8 Texas Tech, who is now number 5. It's just difficult to win road games. BYU, to their credit, 9-2 on the road in the last 2 seasons. That's an unbelievable number. Can they do it again? And pardon the phrase, kick an opponent while they're down and keep them down? I'm inclined to believe that there will be some real stress and, again, real drama here. Yeah. But does BYU have enough answers to do it again?
My interpretation of that is start fast. Think about it. A 14-0 BYU lead on the road in that environment with a team and a fan base that's down, as compared to a 14-0 Cincinnati lead in that same scenario.
BYU started fast against Arizona, but that was a weird rain game. It was almost like the rain
there was the pause.
Was the best thing that happened to Arizona.
Yeah, and that fake punt attempt. Those 2 things were the best things that happened to Arizona.
Yes. So can BYU start fast and maintain that momentum like they did against TCU and have an more East Carolina type game? I'm not asking BYU to win by 21 like they did against ECU, who was 7-3 and still in the running potentially to be the group of 6 entrant into the college football playoff, which is wild. Can they start fast? It's so important on the road. Yeah. You can't. Don't get down double digits again on the road and have to rally again. There's just, how much can BYU do? How much do they have left in the tank in that capacity?
Yeah, think of our hearts, as fans. You know, there's no reason to drag us through that. Just take care of business. This team looks business-oriented coming out of TCU.
Our question of the day, what's your biggest concern for BYU football heading into Saturday's game at Cincinnati? Dave, start us off with the first post.
Rise and Shout says limiting big plays. Cincinnati ranks first in the Big 12 and fifth nationally in yards per play. Evan Pryor's probable, another weapon that BYU will have to be prepared for, but limiting big plays.
Okay, that one from @PNW Coug. This one from @BYU Blue 1984 says BYU's running game, we need it clicking to blow this open. Can BYU establish the run? It looked like LJ Martin was feeling better. He looked like he was running more healthy, more confidently.
Ran 21 times.
Against TCU. TCU had a good rush defense.
Yeah.
I know Texas Tech's rush defense is on another level, so that certainly plays into it. But can BYU establish the run against Cincinnati like they did, at least in some capacity, against TCU?
I loved the passes out of the backfield to LJ. 3 or 4 of them against Cincinnati.
That has become a more prominent feature of Aaron Roderick's offense.
Get him out there, get him in space, and let him do his thing.
And he does that, makes one move and goes. Yeah. That has been a benefit for BYU. Weigh in on X, Facebook, and Instagram to join that conversation.
All right, what did you learn about women's basketball last night? They go on the road. They beat Montana by 1. Their star player, Delaney Gibb, didn't play because she's banged up.
Yeah, how about that? Delaney Gibb, if you're wondering, I've been told officially lower leg injury. She is day-to-day. They expect her to be back soon. And this is probably a precautionary thing to hold her out against Montana just so she can get ready for some of those bigger games that are happening at the end of the month. But this is a culture win, 100%, Dave, under Lee Cummard. A rallying cry, galvanizing game for this team. Mariah Hudgens, after sitting out last year with an injury, was instrumental. 23 points to lead BYU. Ari Mackey-Williams off, 2 ACL injuries in back-to-back seasons. We documented that she hadn't played in 960-plus days. They'd gone that long between Division I games. She hit massive shots in this game. Such a culture. When you're down 5 with under a minute to go and you win 70-69. Like, this is the game you point back at and say, we did that, and we can do it again.
I love Hudgens' quiet transfer, right, coming from Santa Clara. Quiet because she got hurt and was gone last season. Saw her value last night in the transfer. Gibb out, she scores 23. That can be a very nice tandem moving forward. Plus she's older, she's got strength, she's got leadership. That's big. And so we finally saw Mariah Hudgens last night. This is why she transferred here. This is why BYU wanted her here. And so it was good to see her get 23 and make a difference in a game.
Lee Cummard and the Cougars, 5-0, and obviously we send our best to Delaney Gibb. Hope she's healthy and back in the lineup very soon.
All right, Suli Davis broke the BYU freshman rally scoring era record for kills in a season.
She's unbelievable.
Last night. Did it last night against Arizona. How important has she been to this volleyball team?
Let me make a comparison that my football friends will understand wholeheartedly. Suli Davis is to BYU volleyball like Bear Bachmeier is to BYU football. She is that important. She has been the MVP of this team. And that's saying something because Claire Little-Chambers was BYU's best player coming into the season, preseason Big 12 Player of the Year, and BYU's picked to win the conference. They're obviously not doing that, but they have dealt with a rash of injuries, Dave. So her role has been increased and very important. She's as important to this team as Bear Bachmeier is to BYU football. They rely on her that much, and for her to deliver this way, gosh, it's hard not to be excited about what the future of BYU volleyball holds.
Yeah, and with her and Bauer young and with a big future ahead, big things ahead for this young volleyball team. But Davis is sensational. She's the Jane Hadigren of cross country. Throw her that. Throw Kihei Akina from golf. She's that.
These fabulous freshmen. Yeah, I mean.
And AJ. Let's not leave him off the list. She's what AJ is to the basketball team, to the volleyball team. This is a unique crop of young athletes we got here.
Great stuff. Freshman phenoms all over campus.